Here we go again. So, it's the end of the 2022 AFL season, and we all know what that means. It's time to recap the season predictions I made back in March to see how shit they really were. Let's start off on the lineup.
Right, who's my wooden spoon? I can't even remember this.
Probably the most diverse over the
I can't even remember this.
Like, last year, it was nailed on North Melbourne. 2020, it was nailed on Adelaide. This year, there's been a few names thrown around. There's been a Gold Coast, a Collingwood, a Hawthorn, and North Melbourne, and Adelaide.
No. North, yes.
But I will be going with the Gold Coast Suns. Even before the Ben King ACL. What am I thinking? Yeah, well, I mean, it's safe to say Gold Coast wasn't a great shout. I tipped Gold Coast 18th, and they finished 12th, and were a real final shot at some point throughout the year. Yeah. Well, I was going to predict the Suns as my wooden spoon, and well, this is just certified it. That Ben King injury will be so crucial for the Suns. Took Miller will now have a big year. Matt Rowell will need to stay injury-free for the Suns to have any chance of even a mid-table year, because they just look absolutely horrendous this year. And I know they did just beat Port Adelaide in a practice match, but realistically, Port Adelaide didn't put out a very strong side. And Port Adelaide turned out not to be very good this year, so bloody hell, already a few twists and turns thrown in the 2022 season. In 17th, I have the Adelaide Crows. Okay. I mean, still wasn't great, because I mean, okay, there was a nailed on bottom two this year, and that was West Coast and North Melbourne. Adelaide finished 14th, and at times, their best could beat the best. And I had real faith in them at times at some against some clubs. So I think Adelaide actually had a pretty good year, and I think they will make a real finals push over the next few years. I think 17th was a shit call. Crows just got destroyed by the Lions in a practice match. Like, I know it's only a practice match. I think these practice matches have been really helpful in shaping my lineup predictions to see who will, how teams will perform this year. Tex Walker, I believe, will be gone for quite a few rounds at the start of the season.
Yeah, Tex was gone.
Suspension. Ben Keys, he's a really promising sign here. Had a great year last year. He's one of my favourite non-Freo players, if I'm being honest. Veterans like Rory Sloane will also have to step up. Josh... Yeah. Well, they can't step up if they do a bloody ACL in the first couple rounds. Josh Rochelle is really that shining light in that. Yeah, well, Rochelle kicked 5 on debut against the Dockers. He was really good in that practice game, even though they lost by about 90-something points. But the Crows just don't match an X factor every other team has, so yeah, we have to put him in 17th. In 16th, I have the Collingwood Magpies. Okay, I'm not going to beat myself up too much over this. Collingwood were trending. I'm not going to beat myself up too much, because realistically, didn't everyone have Collingwood in their bottom 4? I think literally everyone had Collingwood in their bottom 4. Yeah, well, obviously they finished 4th, won about 12 straight games by under a goal, and made a prelim final, which they only lost by 1 point in. So, to say the least, it was an overachieving and ridiculous year from Craig McRae's Collingwood, but I'm not going to beat myself up too much, because they looked shit at the start of the year. They were shit last year. And yeah, new coach, I didn't think it was going to work out. I don't think anyone did either, so fair play Collingwood. I don't think their system will be fully worked out. Craig McRae does look like a promising coach, but their system will take a little while to find its groove. McRae was a promising coach, alright, but he was more than promising. He was ready to hit the ground running, and that's exactly what they did in 2022. 15th, we've got our first real controversial one. I've got the West Coast Eagles. Yes! What a call! What a call, ladies and gentlemen. The West Coast Eagles in 15th. They finished 17th. I don't think many people were daring to put the Eagles that low on the table, but I just had a feel about them this year that they were going to be absolute dog shit, and they were. And it's great to see, finishing the season with a 2-20 record. Yeah, a lovely season by West Coast to playing that sugar nana. I predicted West Coast to finish bottom 4. Holy shit. Look, I genuinely believe this is a possibility. I don't think West Coast will finish higher than 10th. I think West Coast can finish 10th if they find something, but their game plans are so old-fashioned, like that 2018, 2019 style of footy. Well, the thing is, my reasoning isn't even correct here, because I think they actually did change their game style to adapt a little bit this year, but I mean, COVID rocked them at the start of the year, but then all their old players just started losing legs and not trying on the field. I do genuinely look. They were playing. Team selection was questionable at times from Simpson, not playing some of the young guys over guys like Gaff and other older players that weren't in great form. I think Tom Barrass was a real shining light for them though this year. I think he made All-Australian, I believe too. No, I think he actually missed All-Australian. He would have been a my All-Australian, but yeah, no good year for the West Coast Eagles overall. 14th, I have the 2021 Wooden Spooners expect to rise, North Melbourne. Yes, I can't fuck my life. Well, yeah, North finished 18th again. Yeah, North Melbourne, like West Coast, finished with a 2-20 record with a percentage of 55.8. Horrendous to say the least. I mean, it was just a horrible year. Never looked like winning. I mean, their only wins came across a waffle West Coast side and who else did they beat? They beat Richmond at Marvel. Richmond was their only credible win this year. Yeah. To say the least, David Noble's men were shit. Out of North Melbourne's 11 home games of the season, they will have 4 at Blundstone Arena, where they're historically very, very good. It also helps that 2 of those Blundstone games are Adelaide and Hawthorn. Yeah, Blundstone. Remember 2021, where if they played at Blundstone, it was pretty much an automatic win? Yeah, those days are over. I expect North Melbourne to both win. And then their other Blundstone games are Port Adelaide and Geelong, which would be tougher games, but I wouldn't rule them out of it. Jason, you would rule them out of it. Especially the Geelong game. I'm at 13th. This may be quite high. I'm going with Hawthorn. Okay. Oh, I got it. Hawthorn actually did finish 13th. Come on. What a tip. I had a feeling about Hawthorn this year. I thought the Sam Mitchell hate was a little bit too much. And I thought they were going to do something pretty special this year, the Hawks, with Sam Mitchell. And they did. 13th. Challenged some of the competition's best. Only lost by 10 to Melbourne. Lost by about 10 points to Freel as well. Yeah, they lost to some really good teams by close margins. They beat Brisbane. Yeah, I mean, a lovely year in Sam Mitchell's first year in charge at the Hawks. Now look, call me crazy, Hawthorn looked absolutely crap in that practice match against Collingwood, and Sam Mitchell's a brand new coach. He's very young to the coaching game, but I have a good feeling about the Hawks. The Leaguers will step up this year, I feel. I reckon Tom Mitchell will have a massive year. I reckon McAvoy's leadership is exactly what the Hawks need. If they can get Bruce and Gunston firing once again, then I see no reason why the Hawks can't finish in a mid-table spot. Another absolute bombshell call. I've got the Geelong Cats. Oh, this is my life. Oh, God. Yeah, well, look. I tipped Geelong to finish 12th. And they may, I'm only saying that, they may have won the minor premiership by 2 games clear and may have won the grand final by 81 points. But I can't confirm it, because that may be the worst call I've ever predicted on a season prediction. What the fuck was I thinking? Cameron can't get up, Tom Hawkins can't get up. They're both getting old, so they need to start firing some goals. Jeremy Cameron and Tom Hawkins can't get up. Jeremy Cameron was the best player on the comp this year. Tom Hawkins, not far behind. Soon. Obviously, Cameron probably has another 5 years left in him, but Hawkins doesn't have long left, and he's going to show that X factor that we all know. And Hawkins was literally close to a Norm Smith. He has, no matter what age he is. They lost Jordan Clark, which I know might not be big to the Cats coaching staff who pick the team every week and barely picked him, but I reckon that pace off half-back, that backup option, it's getting rid of some really good young depth. And in 11th, I have Richmond. Richmond 11th. Richmond finished 7th. It's not like the worst call in the world, but still, probably should have put a bit more faith in Richmond. Pre-season, I wasn't really building some hype, but I mean, they made finals this year. They went out in the first week, but still, you know, I thought they were one of those teams who kind of just scraped in. At 10th, it's Carlton. Yes, the Carlton. Did I get it right? Oh no, Carlton finished 9th. Of course I did. Wait, sorry. Didn't Carlton make finals? I literally just found out. Carlton didn't make finals. That's fucking hilarious, to be honest. Anyway, yeah, Carlton didn't make finals, by the way. Just another quick point, Carlton didn't make finals. Let's look in here. Yeah, Carlton didn't make finals. Train has steamed down again. They're finishing 10th. Whoa, what a shock. If they finish in finals, I won't be surprised, and I will get a lot of stick for it, but that's okay. They've obviously added some really big names over the off-season, such as Adam Shearer. Jesse Motlop, I really, really like in the draft from South Freo. I called Jesse Motlop early. I was watching him at South Freo down the road. Bloody good player, Jesse Motlop. Obviously, still got a really, really good young core players. Jack Silvagni and Jack Harrell are also primes for really, really big years. I reckon this is Jack Harrell's probably breakout year. From what I've heard, he looks really, really good. Jacob Wiggering will really have to hold down that. Jack Harrell's such a random man to have a breakout year. Flying in defence, Paddy Cripps looks prime for a breakout year. I know we've said that for the last 5 years, but I reckon Paddy Cripps looks in superb form this year. Him in the practice match, for me, just looks like he was going to absolutely dominate. Carlton are losing Liam Jones in defence. I'm not sure how big of an issue that will be for them, but I think they'll still
To be fair, that was really thin defensive stocks at some point in the year. Liam Jones would have been big for them.
Okay, Harry Mackay, the Coleman medalist of last year, if he can do another 50 or 60 this year, that will be massive. And obviously, we all know how destructive Sam Walsh is. The Blues have no reason why they can't make the 8, but I just feel like they'll steam down and their inconsistency will catch them. In 9th, I can very easily see them making finals. In fact, I hope they do. I'm going St Kilda.
St Kilda in 9th. St Kilda finished 10th. So if I literally just switched around Carlton and St Kilda, I would have got it right. So yeah, I predicted Carlton 10th. They finished 9th. I predicted St Kilda 9th. They finished 10th. Another pretty solid prediction.
Full teams like St Kilda, Freo, GWS, Essendon, I could shuffle them.
I can't believe teams like GWS and Essendon were in the Carlton, St Kilda and Freo conversation. That's just ridiculous.
They were one of the most exciting teams to watch last year. Sometimes one of the most inconsistent and boring teams to watch. But it just depends on...
Bloody hell, that you could have literally summed up this season any better. At times, one of the most exciting teams to watch. At times, one of the most boring and inconsistent teams to watch. Literally this year as well.
Cracking into the top 8, we've got... Essendon.
Fuck my life. Yeah, Essendon finished 15th. Probably were a bottom 3 team this year. They did finish 15th in the end. And, I mean, I assume a lot of people probably tipped Essendon to finish in the finals. But, you know, I don't even know how their club has gone so down. Their club was going like this, pretty steadily up, even at times going very steeply up, and then fucking the club's come crashing down. Like, I don't know what's gone wrong.
I reckon look really good this year. If Darcy Parish can have how he played in the first 10 rounds of the season last year, if he can play like that all year, I have no reason why he can't win the Brownlow. He's just absolute...
Darcy Parish for Brownlow, he says. Okay.
I love Draper for the Bombers. I reckon he's one of their most exciting talents in the ruck. I have no reason why he can't be in the All-Australian team this year. He looks really...
Draper for All-Australian, he says. I'm making a lot of bold calls this video.
Really good for me. Just depends on the consistency again with the teams like Freo, St Kilda, GWS, Bombers. It depends on their consistency on who's going to make the 8 and who's not going to, because that's ultimately what it comes down to. Coming in 7th, I've got the Freo Dockers. The Dockers obviously...
Okay, Dockers finished 5th. Solid call.
Adding some great talent over the off-season, such as Jordan Clark, Will Brody. Out of any team in the comp, they probably had the best draft, adding local players such as Jaya Miss, Neil Erasmus, Matthew Johnson. Remember, Matthew Johnson was predicted to go in the top 10 and he slipped down to us at pick 21. I don't know how. I also really like the look of Roy Benning. We got him around the pick 40, pick 50 mark, and he looks really good for a future backup ruck of ours.
Look... Yeah, get Roy Benning. He was getting games in the 3s this year, and now we're about to get Luke Jackson as our second ruck. So, look, Eric Benning, I'm not sure how he's going to pan out, but hopefully he can find a spot on our team in the future.
Again, how's he going to find the team? Lloyd Meek looks like he's going to hit the ground running this year. Sean Darcy.
Lloyd Meek hitting the ground running. What was I thinking? No, now he's looking for a trade.
Darcy looks like he's primed for an All-Australian debut this year. And how well Meek and Darcy complement with the likes of Brayshaw, Sarong, Mundy.
I think we played Meek and Darcy for the first couple of rounds till we realised it just didn't work, and we rolled with Darcy and Lob for the rest of the season. At times, Darcy and Logue. So yeah, Meek didn't have a massive impact this season. I'm not sure why I was so into Lloyd Meek.
5, Brody Clark coming off half-back. Bringing it into a hopefully consistent Matt Taberner, a hopefully consistent Rory Lobb.
I think Lobb's been getting way overhated this season. I'm really happy he's staying. Really happy he's staying. He makes a contest every time the ball goes near him. And bloody hell, he's one of the best goal kickers in the comp when it comes to accuracy. So yeah, I'm really pumped that we're going to hold Lob hostage in 2023, at least for one more year.
Coming in at 6th, I have the GWS Giants.
Giants 6th, they finished 16th. Yeah, I mean, again, winning a final last year against the Swans, and then just, fuck, they were bad this year. That was so horrible to watch.
Giants are primed for a top 4 finish this year. They're also primed for a 13th place finish. There is such a big window for the Giants because they're arguably the most inconsistent team in the comp. They can beat Melbourne and lose to Adelaide. They're such a strange team. It really depends if Toby Green wants to have another career best year. Toby Green, for me, he's the best player in the comp. He's just not that type of player to win the Brownlow. But for me, he's the most valuable and best player in the competition.
He was definitely the best player in the comp last year. I'm not going to get angry at myself for that call, but probably this year I'd say it would be either Bolton or Cameron.
At 5th, just missing the top 4. They're probably primed for another top 4 finish. It is Port Adelaide.
For God's sake. Port Adelaide finished 11th. And yeah, I mean, some of these teams are predicting in the top 8 here. Essendon, GWS, Port Adelaide. Like, come on. I mean, Port Adelaide, I'm not even going to beat myself up for either because they should have been good. And at times they were playing like a top 4 or top 5 team, but they started the season 0-5 and it was just an uphill battle from there on out.
At 4th, I've got the Western Bulldogs.
And the Western Bulldogs very luckily scraped into 8th this year. After going up by 40 points halfway through the second against the Dockers. They choked that and went out in the first week by 13 points.
Finalists last year, a lot of people's premiership favourites for this year. The Bulldogs look really, really well-rounded. Jack McRae and Marcus Bontempelli with star years last year. They'll have Josh Bruce gone for most of the season, unfortunately, doing his ACL last year. Obviously, the Bruce injury is horrific, but I don't think they'll miss him too much. They've got such a well-rounded team with a lot of depth. I reckon the Bulldogs shouldn't have too many issues this year. Coming out third, I have the Brisbane Lines. I guess I just
said Brisbane, they finished 6th and slipped down more than people thought they would. They obviously beat Richmond and beat Melbourne, made it to a prelim somehow from 6th, but in the end, flunked out to the Cats.
Port Adelaide, that premiership window is closing very, very quickly. From what I watched in their practice match, they looked absolutely sublime against the Crows. The Crows just looked deflated. The Lions looked like their brand of football was just, it was on top of the world, and it just gives me even more confidence that they could maybe win a flag this year. I have no confidence of the Brisbane Lions going anywhere in 2022. I thought they were just going to slow down and just kind of slowly fade into that 5th, 6th, 7th team. But after that practice match, and I know it's a practice.
Well, yeah, they actually did fade into a 5th, 6th, 7th team. And but yeah, I've got a little bit more hope for them next year after what they did in finals, and that at their best they've shown how good they are. So I've still got no doubts. Look, Brisbane still could keep on sliding, like I just said, but I don't think they'll slide as much as I thought they would at this point in time.
Coming at second, I have the Sydney Swans.
I've got Sydney in second. Sydney finished third, so we're getting a pretty good tip. I thought it was maybe a bit high on the inside. Felt maybe it was a bit high for a really young team at the time, but yeah, I mean, obviously made the grand final, had a high-pressure brand of footy this year, and yeah, really overall good year for the Swans.
Mid-year, they were about 6, and they were tipped to make the top 4 last year. I can't even imagine how good they'll be this year with that young talent coming through. You've got Tom Papley, who, like Toby Green, I think could turn into the best player in the comp. Buddy Franklin only 5 goals away from 1,000. If he can just have another big year, like, it's this sort of year that Buddy will have a big year. Buddy could still kick 60 despite his age.
Buddy kicked over 50, so yeah, great year from Buddy.
The system seems to have just worked out. The Sydney have done a really, really good job sticking with John Longmire in the long term. Even at the end of 2020, they pulled a string of really, really good wins, even though they finished, I think, in the bottom 4 and flopped to the finals last year. The Swans put together a good string of wins in late 2020, and I always had a good feeling about how they would gel over the next few years, and it looks like it's working out perfectly. Coming out first, it leaves the reigning premiers, the Melbourne Football Club.
Yep, Melbourne finished second again, pretty good tip. In first was actually Geelong, who, let's just say, I tipped 12th.
I don't see any team, in fact, I'll quickly get to it. Premiers, Melbourne. I think the D's will win the premiership. I don't see a team really stopping Melbourne this year. The whole team just seems to gel together really, really well. They'll get Adam Tomlinson back from his ACL last year. A Brownlow medal, I've got Jack Steele of the St Kilda Football Club.
Brownlow Jack Steele had a big injury throughout the year, and I mean, he didn't really poll that well throughout the first 8 rounds either. Obviously, Paddy Cripps won that, so yeah, not a great Brownlow tip.
Coleman, another Saints player, I've got Max King. Jack Steele.
Max King for Coleman. He finished 6th in the Coleman medal with 52 goals behind Peter Wright, Tom Hawkins, Jeremy Cameron, Tom Lynch, and Charlie Curnow.
He will be playing from round 1 to round 23 if he doesn't have any injury issues. Considering he plays for the Adelaide Crows and there's no way the Crows won't pick him every week. Looked phenomenal in the practice match against the Lions, even though they lost by 100. I'm going with Josh Rochelle.
I went Josh Rochelle. It was obviously Nick Dacos. I probably should have thought about that a bit more, considering I thought Collingwood was going to be shit and Dacos was going to get selected every week, but yeah, Joshua Shelley had a great start to the season. I was feeling pretty up and about my rising star tip, but just failed it out, got omitted a few times, and yeah, in the end, Nick Dacos, the clear winner. Then my season predictions, overall, they were pretty shit compared to previous years. Hopefully I can do a little bit better in 2023. I'm going to still have that little bold edge in some of my calls. I'm going to go with a few bold calls. Pick a few risers, pick a few droppers, and yeah, hopefully it's a little bit better in 2023. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully some more footy content coming out over the latter stages of this year, and I'll see you all next time. Cheers.